No, because the issue now is, when are we going to speak the truth about Wizkid? I know he just dropped an album, but we have to be honest about the guy and answer the question. Are Wizkid's best years behind him? And by the time you and I go through and analyze his entire discography, we'll be able to honestly answer the question using his new album, Morayo. Wizkid is an undisputed legend at this point. He came in the game in the 2010s and he never left. And numbers-wise, he has been at the top ever since. But music-wise, the story is a little different. And now to answer the question, we have to first know and establish what were Wizkid's best years. I don't care about numbers, the guy has fans that will make everything go to the top. I'm talking about music. And I think everybody can agree that these two albums, Superstar and Ayo, that was the golden age of Wizkid. We'll get to Made in Lagos, but these two albums were great and they showed Wizkid's biggest strengths. Oh yeah, the man just knew how to make bangers. He knew how to work the club. He knew the kind of music that will work in the parties and everything. He just knew how to do it. And that's his thing for a long time, but there was something else about those albums that made Wizkid who he is. People don't talk about it enough anymore because of his new music. We'll get to that. But Wizkid used to push his vocals a lot back then, and that was part of the secret sauce.
And I can't get over you, 'cause you got me so confused,
Listen, Wizkid is not a traditional singer. He doesn't have the silky smooth vocals of Johnny Drill or the thick coarse vocals of Davido. Nobody can sing like Davido, thankfully. But back then, Wizkid used to push the limits of his vocal cords in the computer processor with that auto-tune. Jesus Christ, that thing must have been working over time.
You got me in the mood.
And it was great, it worked. And it wasn't just because of the vocals, but the melodies too. He did more harmonies back then. The songs had more melodic movements and switches and ad-libs.
Me and you forever, ever. You're my only girl, and I'm your only man.
He was going into different pockets with his flow and cadence, and that could be because back then they didn't have easy access to equipment. So when you get to the studio, you have to do everything you can. You have to pour everything out of you. Even in the production, like if you listen to old music, the producers used to have their own breaks. They used to do all kinds of things, because if you don't do it, you might not be able to do it again for another couple of weeks. On the song Say My Name,
see everywhere I go and everywhere I be,
that's it's something that Wizkid will not do today. I don't even think he will go that high. He won't sing that high octave the way he sang there. He wouldn't do it today. The harmonies at the end wouldn't happen today. He will leave it for the instrumentals. And we'll get to the Morayo album. There's some parts that I was like, bro, you should have just done, but we'll get to that. At any point in time, Wizkid always knew the right producers for him. That's one of the best things about Wizkid, even to this day. Superstar was Sam Clef, Mastercraft, E. Kelly, DJ Clem. I might be forgetting some. For Ayo, it was Saz, Del B, and Spells. That's where the Saz and Wizkid partnership first came, and we thank God for that. It was a gift to the world. At any point in time, Wizkid is in some producer-artist dynamic duo. He had it with P Prime, and now it is he and P2J. One of my favorite Wizkid songs that was not on his album was Baddest Boy. I love that song, bro. Yeah, I love that song. And on that song, there's a part where he does getting to the end. This part.
They're on the city and they're killing every show. Team EME out there, you should know. They love that EME boy. They want to do that EME boy.
Yeah. He wouldn't do that today. Today he'll leave the beats to play. You see what I'm saying? So based on this, we can come to a conclusion. Wizkid is at his best at all times when he's pushing himself. When he and his producers and his fans are pushing the limits of his musical ability, best Wizkid at all times. Some artists are not at their best when they are doing that. Some people have to lay back to make good music. Some people should not be pushing their vocal ability. You understand what I'm saying? Hey, it's all playing. Okay, I love the video. I'll make a video about him too. Listen, Wizkid had a live song where he was directing the instrumentalist to play at the end, like he was performing in a bar, bro.
Just the drums, give me the bass. Just the bass, just the bass, just the bass. Give me the guitar.
I can't tell if that's Wizkid or that's a praise leader in church, bro. Wizkid did come from church though. He said he had a group in church where they used to sing about Jesus. Hey, the devil is working, you know. So it makes sense where the energy came from and why he was that musical back then. The Lord is good. You see, when the Lord is with you, you'll be making good stuff. It was a great time, and a song like Oju Elegba brought a lot of international eyeballs to Wizkid. From the other side, and I wish the eyeballs were the only thing that came from the other side, because this is where the problems began. Sounds from the other side is not terrible. It had Come Closer, banger.
Yeah.
But compared to the first two albums, your sound is working, don't be alarmed. I muted that part myself. And that's because this album should not exist. Okay, it didn't happen. It didn't happen. We didn't see it. It was plastic in the golden era of Wizkid. He had signed a new deal and they wanted to make him more international. So they took the maximalist church band singing Wizkid and shot him in the head. They packed the album with features and thought it would work. It didn't. Again, these are not terrible songs. They're actually great songs right before you press play. I'm just being a hater. I don't like the album. All for Love is nice. Come Closer, that was Jamaican Wizkid. That was a banger. Dirty Wine was supposed to be a club banger, so they went and got...
Oh, let me see you dirty once.
That guy made the same beat like 65 times and made a lot of money. Shouts to him. But over here, Wizkid started sounding lazy. There's no other way to say it. I want to say it was the money that gave him access to the best of the best cabbage in the world. But Wizkid already had money. Wizkid was already rich before 2017. Like, he had money from 2010, from the time he dropped the first album. So it definitely was the label people. Point is, sounds from the other side should have stayed on the other side. And if time had ended at that point, then we would have the answer to our question. Wizkid's best years were behind him. And I'm sure after getting out of his deal, Wizkid did some soul searching and realized that if he didn't make a comeback, he'll become an example of why you shouldn't sign a deal just because the deal looks good or the artist is big or the label is big. And this gave us Made in Lagos. And this album was perfect.
I know say then go play on my downfall.
Now, I don't mean the music itself is perfection, okay? Wizkid is not Asha. But it was perfect because it was the right kind of music for the right time and the right Wizkid for the right worldwide events. He kind of perfected the thing the last album failed to do, and he gave us a working version of the Afro R&B chill Wizkid. And of course, what is that album without the Queen? I know Wizkid fans don't like to hear it, but Made in Lagos is not Made in Lagos without Thames, okay? Thames was a striker on that album. She played number 9 on that album. She's the one who scored the goal.
You don't need no other body.
We will never ever need any other body, Thames. You are the only one. So I guess we can say Sounds from the Other Side was not great, but it was a great stepping stone for Wizkid to enter the Made in Lagos Wizkid. Now, Made in Lagos, in every way, was a sign of good things to come. But
nobody like me, body like me. Baby, when I pull up Gucci, only my jeans.
Listen, More Love, Less Ego was mid. Okay, it was mid, painfully mid. By the way, I think we've all forgotten what mid means. Mid means that it is not bad, but it's also not great. It is mid, in the middle. It's just satisfactory. Background music, maybe. The songs on their own were not bad, but it was as if Wizkid took Made in Lagos Wizkid, removed the versatility, and shot it in the head. More Love, Less Ego is cool in the beginning, but when you get to the middle, it's like you're listening to one long song. And people were saying it's the lyrics, but I don't think so. Wizkid's subject matter has always been the same. Wizkid has never been a person to talk about very intricate topics like the society and how jealousy is a problem in there. None of that. His lyrics are always about the same thing, and a certain girl is always telling him something. What was lost was the variety in his delivery and the melodic stuff he used to do before. Made in Lagos was great because it was the first one, and on that album he tried a couple of different things. He had that reggae song with her. And so More Love, Less Ego felt like the songs that didn't make it on Made in Lagos. And so listening to it, at some point you start feeling like you have drank too much cold medicine. And I don't even think this is a controversial opinion, except for the song Frames. That song was nice.
Who's gonna know at the end of the day? I'm you.
People always single out that song. And why was it great? Pushing himself. Remember, Wizkid is at his best when he's pushing himself. Why was also a nice song because of Naira Marley, who's right now, I don't know whether I would consider him cancelled. And so you start to see a trend with Wizkid. Wizkid pushes himself, makes 2 great albums. Wizkid goes to sleep, makes Sounds from the Other Side. Then Wizkid has another burst of energy. Then he makes another great album. Wizkid goes to sleep again. We have a mid album. And that brings us to Morayo. Am I saying the name right? Morayo. I had been working on this video for like a week before the album dropped. And so I was waiting so much to see whether or not I would be right.
See the blood from my eye and the pain from my mind, Mole Shalaye.
And I was. I love this album. And for me, the production was it for me. That's what I listen to most of the time in songs. And with Wizkid, because of, again, his lyrical, his subject matter is always the same. So you can do without listening to the lyrics, at least for the first time. And I don't mean that as a dig, but it's just true. It is what it is. You can listen to the song and not pay attention to the lyrics and still enjoy it. I love the fact that they made an intentional intro for the album.
Life of a troubled mind. Life of a troubled mind. Right now I'm in just one vibes and thing.
And I heard the Fuji drums, I was like, yes. And then they brought in the gospel type keys with the choir vocals. I'm like, yes, this is how you do it. The very first thing everybody noticed was that this album has everything. It has all the Wizkids. You get the old Wizkid with songs like Kese and Bend.
Dance, bend, tell him I could dance, bend. Oh my God, bring your body, go jump. Oh my God.
We get R&B made in Lagos Wizkid on Piece of My Heart, great song. Time, beautiful song.
Time after time, you got me loving over you and I.
And on Après Minuit.
J'ai dans la tête une mélodie qui dit interdit après minuit.
But for me also, I love that song so much. And that's the thing about this album. The thing that Wizkid brought back is the melodic variety, you know, like they're doing different things melodically. And honestly, I love that the people who are doing it are not him. But hey, he picked the features and they're all doing stuff that, if you listen to the album, no matter who you are, whether you're a hater or a lover, something will stick in your head. Some melody will stick in your head. One of them will stick in your head, at least. If you're a hater, one of them. Love the production on Bad Girl. It's very drum centered.
Make we do, oh yeah, I got you. La do mire do body natural no kai.
It's melodically minimalistic. Grammar, blufful. And on this song, Wizkid really tapped into Ashake's flow, because at some points I couldn't tell the difference between. I couldn't tell who was singing, because Wizkid was doing Ashake's melodies a lot.
This killing I'm a kind meat, but it will lead that kind thing. I'm on the dolly motion cannabis.
They have different voices, but their vibe was so similar. I don't know if you guys could, but at some points I was like, is this Wizkid or is this Ashake? For me, I knew the album would be great when the track list dropped and I saw Anais on it. That girl is amazing, bro. She was on Ashake's album. I made a video about that. Her vocals are just something else. Slow with Anais is great, and honestly, it's very disrespectful of Wizkid to even think that he can add his vocals to that song next to that girl. But it is his album, so Break Me Down is one of my favorite songs because of the girls singing. Dame. They have a song on FIFA. I think I'm just seeing that they have a song on the new FIFA. Infectious melody with that mid 2010s type beats. Is it mid 2010s or like the 2000s? I grew up around that time, so I'm mixing them. But it was around that time. Like the song Wine on Ashake's album.
Oh baby wine, baby wine, baby wine, baby wine, baby wine. Me I want to fire, make we fire, they go high.
The song Don't Scare sounds like something Fela would sing.
Many come and go, but I dey live my life on low. Living life I don't care. Living life.
Now I don't know Fela's discography well enough to know if Wizkid sang something from him, but the call and response vibe is very, very Fela-like. The only thing that they miss on that song is horns. If they put one of those old school type horns on it, it would have been perfect. I don't have time. I want to drop the video early, but I would have done it. I would have done it myself and put it. Maybe I'll do it and put it somewhere. Production-wise, the star of the show was the transition between Bend to A Million Blessings. Oh my God, the strings. They didn't put the string players in the credits. I've been looking for the people who play this back. I can't find them. It was produced by P2J and The Elements. And like, bro,
you're just like me. You're just like me. Oh yeah.
And so now with this album, Wizkid has shown us that his best years are not behind him. But I am scared. Because remember the trend, the up and down trend? Well, this album, if you look at the reaction, is on the high. I'm scared for the next one. But what I am not scared about is the fact that I still will never ask you to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. I will ask you to leave a comment below. Let me know what you think about the video. Let me know what you think about the album. Did you listen to it? A lot of people like it. Some people are saying it's not nice. Some people are hating on it. I don't get it, but I get it. It's the stan culture. You are 30 BG and you are this, so you have to hate on this, all that stuff. But yeah, I think Wizkid proved himself. I wish there were more themes with his mom in there, cause like the album is dedicated to his mom, but the conversation is None of it is about his mom because, you know, he's still fucking girls on the album. But yeah, I really love the album, but I still don't love it as much as I love you guys. And I'll see you guys in another video. Sing the
People I
song.
go never ever ask you to like and subscribe, but you go fi share my video if you know you're feeling my vibe. People I go never ever ask you to like and subscribe, but you go fi share my video if you know you're